So I want to talk about Birdie Wing a little bit. So uh, I did a short little 5 minute thing a couple weeks ago to talk about it, but I want to do my general feelings about the series up until this point. And to be honest, the series ended at episode 8. Oh, and yes, I am gonna have spoilers in here, so just keep that in mind. Um, I am. Well, I could see it coming from a mile away. They climax the series too soon. At episode 8 is when all the early um the early stuff with the mafia and all that stuff comes to an end. Rose dies. Well, is killed by mafia members because she lost. Which, for that kind of scene, usually you would expect it like at the end of the series. This series does it at episode freaking 8. And I am. After that episode, I was happy with that. I was like, okay, the first 8 episodes, yeah, the first couple are kind of meh, but you had to build up to something, right? But you get to episode 8, and all of that, story climaxed and ended in a really spectacular fashion. The problem is what were they going to do after that? And what have they done? They've turned it into a stupid high school girls, high school, everyday life kind of series that's, like, now Eve has to, like, go to Japan to find Aoi, and they just want to play golf against each other, right? But it's oh god, since episode 8, it's just been such a boring slog, because they develop these characters, they build them up, they climax at one point, and then they start from zero all over again. And I could see it coming from, like, right at the beginning. And I talked to my friend about this, and the one who told me, oh, you gotta watch Birdie Wing. I don't give a shit about golf. I'm just the series started to get me hooked. Then it got to episode 8, and I'm like, okay, this is actually worth watching. Like, forget about the golf part of it. Just, the deeper stories involved here are really interesting. Oh, let's throw it all away and start all over and start a whole new series from scratch again. What the fuck? They could have done an entire series just on the mafia shit. Or, like, even get it to halfway point. Because we know this series is probably going to be 26 episodes. Because that's the way all Japanese animation is made today. It's just 26 episodes. And it's boring because you can't develop a lot of the characters. Especially in a series like, let's say, Macross Delta, where you've got 5 singing characters, you got 5 pilots, you have the captain of the Macross Elysian, you have all the operators, you have, all these characters. Plus you have all the, like, sub-characters, like, for example, Chuck, his family, his relatives and shit, and the whole background. And 26 episodes is not enough to do that. It is absolutely not. And what I see and of course that's Big West and that's Macross, that's not Bandai, but this is what Bandai does, is they can't make a consistent series. The last consistent series they've had, in my opinion, was Turn a Gundam. But that was because Tomino wrote the fucking thing. And I haven't watched G-Reco, and I don't care to watch G-Reco. As much as I'm a Tomino fan, no. I'm just not going to get involved in it. Because Bandai's already, screwed the pooch on Gundam for me for good. But the fact that, this is as far as I know, the first series under the Bandai Namco Pictures name, for them putting the Namco name with, the animation studio, right? because it was Bandai Namco with the gaming division for a long time. But as far as I know, I think this is the first that is as under Bandai Namco Pictures. I might be wrong. Don't quote me. I don't sit and watch Bandai stuff because typically I'm disappointed by it. And I'm disappointed in this. And I called it. When I talked to my friend after episode 8, I said, episode 8 was great. Now what are they going to do? Watched episode 9. Then we talked. First thing I said is, now they took stuff that they built up already. They threw it out the window and said, okay, let's start all over from zero and redo everything, and with a whole new, cast of characters and everything, just restart. And like rebooting the series after 8 fucking episodes. And this is absolute trash. And this is typical Bandai trash for God knows how long. I honestly expect them to do a second season or some shit, because that's what they did with fucking Code Geass, which I don't watch, and I don't like Code Geass, so fuck Code Geass. And they did it with, Gundam 00, which fuck Gundam 00. Gundam 00 can go fuck off somewhere. I won't watch that either. But it's all the same pattern with Bandai. Is they get to they write a story, they fuck it up somehow, and then they make a second season to try to recover something. This time they're trying to do it all within a single series, I think, and that's even worse. Because it's the Macross Frontier thing. Macross Frontier, the first 13 episodes of the TV series were one story. The second 13 became almost a completely different story, and there was a completely different atmosphere to it. And that's what this is, except this happened to episode 8, not 13. Just, oh my god. I unless this series starts to pick up, I can't recommend it to anybody, that watches any kind of Japanese animation. I can't. Because, or I'll just say, watch to episode 8. I'm going to finish watching the series, of course. I'm watching it as it's, the episodes are released onto the anime store, because I live in Japan. I can, pay for an anime streaming service so I can watch old stuff that you can't find rental videos for. Or, they don't have them at the DVD shop or whatnot. Which is how I watch El Gaim and all this and all these other ones that they didn't have DVDs for. But I'm gonna finish watching it, of course, because I pay 400 yen a month to get a full stream of whatever I want to watch, so I'm gonna watch it. But I am not happy with the direction it is, and I saw it coming. And this is why I always say I hate modern Japanese animation. They write so fucking lazily. They just, they start with a premise. Well, this one is a girls' golf series. They had a boys' golf series supposedly before, and these sports kind of series have been around since, the 60s, I think? I mean, there's so many others. I think it was Eiso and Nerae. There was Kyojin no Hoshi, which is one of the earliest ones. There's Ashita no Jo, which is boxing. There's, what is that? Captain Tsubasa, which is soccer. And there's Tennis no Oji-sama, which they just call Tenipuri, and that's for tennis, and only girls watch that. But there's always been these sports shows on Japanese TV. And Japanese animation. I've always had something to do with sports in some way. It's always been that way. So this isn't anything new or special or anything in particular. It's just that they started with an interesting premise, and now it's basically starting from zero again after, all the final mafia fight and stuff like that. Well, fight, I wouldn't call it a fight, but maybe the little underground golf tournament shit that they were doing, that the mafia had going. And it was actually different. I could see it this could be interesting. Well, now it's turned to a stupid high school, a girls' high school comedy, drama, whatever you want to call it, sports show, which is just so worn out. And it just, I'm hoping things get better, but at the point that I'm at, I just finished watching episode 11, and since episode 8, so 9, 10, and 11 have all gone exactly as I had predicted. Just slow plotting, starting from scratch, introduce new characters that didn't need to be introduced yet, and they're like rebooting the series after 8 episodes essentially. So if you want to watch this, watch episode 8, and then if you like what you see, you watch episode 9, you'll be like, yeah, he was right. He was completely right about this show. It just doesn't make any sense why they're doing this. I don't get why they're doing it. And because, well, I know why, is because the writers fucking suck. And they think they're being edgy or something by rebooting a series after 8 episodes. But unless they, bring back the Mafia arc to end the series and put Eve back into danger, and maybe Aoi gets, caught up in the mess or something, and they turn it back into a grittier series, this is just going to be totally garbage for the rest of the series. I'm going to feel like I wasted a whole lot of time watching it. I am absolutely not happy with the direction this show has gone. So, even though I had so much promise early on. So, at the episode 8 point, it was great. I was happy with episode 8. The way it climaxed was great. Then it just fell off a cliff. And I know I've said that multiple times. I'm repeating myself multiple times. But this is why I tell everybody, and I make it a point to say, I hate modern Japanese animation. I always say it. And it's because of shit like this. And especially because it's Bandai. And Bandai only cares about making money, and they don't care about actually writing a good story. Just like Hollywood, okay? They're exactly the same. They just do it in a different medium, okay? That's all it is. If they can milk it for money, they'll milk it. That's exactly what they do. Look what they did with Gundam Unicorn, for fuck's sake. They still milk that shit. They add shit from Unicorn into that fake Hathaway's Flash movie that doesn't exist too. They just, oh god, I just, this show is starting to get on my nerves. But it was just as I called it when I told my friend at episode 9. I told him, they rebooted it. This is gonna plod. This is gonna be boring, and it's gonna drag. And the fact that they did this so early was a stupid thing. And he actually admitted that it's been kind of lackluster since the end of the Mafia part in the beginning of the series. And I told him exactly that 2 fucking weeks ago. After episode 9, I told him straight up that I can see where this is going. It's going down a path. And it's going to just plod along, and it's probably going to be boring the rest of the way. And I hope it isn't, but that's what I expect. And what do I get? Exactly what I predicted, because I know exactly how modern Japanese animation works. So this is why I don't like to watch it very much. And I limit my exposure to it. I'm only doing this because he basically talked me into watching it with him. So now I have something to talk about with him, more than just Linux, but... or metal music or something, but, this, he finally admitted I was right. So, this is what happens when you live in Japan for 16 fucking years and you've watched Japanese animation go down the shitter for the entire time, right? Like, I haven't watched anything I can actually say I enjoyed outside of Macross Delta Zettai Raibu. And even that, because it's modern, has all these modern problems with it, that even though there's a lot of good in it, it's got a lot of modern shit that, just, no. This is why I watch old Macross, and that's why I watch old series. I'm rewatching Mospeada right now because Mospeada's great, it's better than anything coming out now, right? But anyway, I just wanted to put my thoughts down that if you're going to watch a series, be prepared to be disappointed after episode 8. And, I mean, it's up to episode 11 here in Japan because it's currently airing on TV, right? But absolutely trust me, you will be disappointed after episode 8, and it's going to plot along, and it's basically I'm willing to say it's basically a waste of time after episode 8. Because I haven't seen anything that really, like, caught my attention or anything. So, anyway, I wanted to put my thoughts on this. I'm thinking about, from here on out, doing an episode-by-episode review of each episode going forward. So every Wednesday I'll probably do something like this. But just be prepared that be prepared for not very positive opinions of each episode. So, anyway, I'll see you in the next video.